The state needs to be blamed. Whether NDC or NPP, I don't fucking care. 80% of any Ghana for your baby and so we know say we are living in water. We are living in waterways. Yen nim say dan baby see. A dan I rent no. Oh boy, to make a choice. A dan where the boy fu if you say baby see no in so ta. I na teche ho. You know. Mama yam pretending here what to say. Sebio de esino ebin sida. We have to blame authority. Unko school in so school. Ana edan school kra. Oko high dan na sa dan esinsuo ma. Edan no kra no be kira wo say edan na wa high no esinsuo. And na the NDC wa power. Na Kevin Taylor say yam blame authority. So I'm releasing over 300 million Ghana cedis. Na nipa sebio omo ho aka insu a etoye ese nnuane ese japade eku nipa no sebio Ghana eye aban so ebetumi aboa na omo a sebio omo ne bebi da enimani no aban bepe bebi mo de omo tiato ene sebio nyoma asai ene senia ye betumi afa kwan bi so ama de esi no atoyere nchema esi no ensibiem enti saa sika aban eye NDC aban John Mahama instructed eye the finance minister no me no ka say eye the finance minister ayi saa sika no e de ama eye ministry I was say omuji sasika na omofandi djuma intime no ka say eye nsem asisi ye nsu efa nipa nipa bi ehwere omonkwa ebi moja pade nyina say omo hu de omonya sebio bebi omo da no omo nim bebi ade chekra omeda no ende aban eye NDC aban John Mahama da no sa aban no ama eye finance minister eyi sika every contingency fund in fact yakase contingency fund eye aban we NDC aban ba emre bi no ena omo te sa contingency fund no say Ghana kwa hihim ahohihim awo kirem e te say de nsu afa nipa edjuma afsay nipa edjuma ekunipa ama nipa enye bebi ndasa Ghana for na saa foto na efre contingency fund no eho ene yekọ se oman na yekọ yisika na yede bo edien yedi si nyoma bia no enti John Mahama NDC aban a ede contingency fund ba ye mo ka se contingency fund we NPP aban ba power from 2017 sika na ewom omo di ni nyina ama mbre bi kra yefre ofori atamade ba parliament se contingency fund no adenti na sika ewom nyina asa NPP aban na ba omia edi enim eye sika sam totoye no omo na omo de contingency fund ko si awawa sika ewom nyina no omo di ye and the NDC asaba ama contingency fund we ama sa de sika foto asabe gu foto nim ama asema esi John Mahama a direct a minister of finance say onfa sika ni bi onyi bi na yemfa hwe Ghana for ama mo ho kire omo ene sika ni bi so omo sa emfa entity gatem omo sa emfa entoto nyama se ne be ya yarewa ebefri sa eye insu a eyiri mu nipa bi a sebio insu eyiri no emama omo nyama bi asai insu ene gates no omo fa entity gatem na omo fa entoto nyama ma se ne be ya sa to yenkyere we esasi bi ma yentumi enko na yenka say yentumi ambo ho ban yentumi entu ho anamo enti me no ka say John Mahama ama finance minister over 300 million Ghana cedis sika ya ka ho asemi say usi menhia saa 50 sika no still enkom every say sika esu yie enti enuanom ade we na kire oman no president no sebio adwenepa akomapa ene senior ono so pese oman Ghana sika yede ato no yede boa Ghana fo a omo ho aka na eba ensem wei ene insu etoye ene nipa dodo a omo japade omo hwere ene ndwuma insu wei asai ene mantem adan a ebuagu a asem a ano adin ye na there's something we need to all understand ato yenchem wei a eto Ghana ebi sebio yeni ankasa making ena de eto ye no so no sebio obi beka se insu eto ye no na insu na adin ye nanso obi be se entate abo antate oni se debi sebio insu beto sebio ewia bebo inti debi otowa na oye den osiesie no ho ofa aduane a na ode akosie bebi because oni se da achi bi no asem betumi ato insu betumi ato eja betumi ahye na adentina as a nation yensu yenye proactive ni entina nka se ebia ato yenchem betumi esi na ato yenchem na ebesi no ya ye ahoboabo a ye de besi sa ato yenchem no ho kwan ana eno the main question we need to be asking each other. We have to blame the authority somehow, and also we have to take the blame as citizens. Now, sa insuya afanipa nipa biewu sebio endan ebuogu sebio indwuma asai no question na ebusa nyina nse wana faulta yentimi ntina Ghana na yen sore ne yenka se we die politicians amwaye entina ende yenwoma gu abontene yen nyina yete Ghana mo hweme from the west, south, east and whatever you want to call it obia nim se bebi ote unim se wuti nsuo ma unim se area no nsuo emu na wote a you know se unko school nsuo hunk school ana edan hu school kra oko high dan na sa dan esinsuo ma edan no ho kra no be kire wo se edan na wa high no esinsuo 80% of any Ghana for yeti baby nsuo no we know say we are living in water, we are living in waterways yenim say edan baby esi edan na ya rent no obo etumi ka kire wo se edan we de ne boafo efri se baby esi no nsuo ta aya na ateche wo ho you know Mama yam pretending ye what to say sebio de esino ebin sida. We have to blame authority. Now answer your beggar say ye be blame authority no. I know say some people will say oh adentina de asem we see and that the NDC power. Now Kevin tell us say ye blame authority. I am not saying we should solely or we should wholly blame authority. We should blame authority because one, when the system and make us say authority make a buying, when the system at the end of the day things are put in place at the end of the day, say ato yenchem say kratoya the effect no and I said the impact no enye kese say the asano. And I'm talking about when governments are elected, they need to at the end of the day make sure say system need to provide an environment even though and to be my 100% protection I was say to me my regime it me a buffer sebio ato yenchem say sia ye betimi sebio impact and as damage be no and to me and cause no as crazy. Now, let's step back a little bit. And we are not here to equalize. I hate equalization. But because of the NPP 4 year, because of Nkwasiasema politicians because of Jimia, young politicians we always have to go back and remind the people that what is happening today, the government of the day can be blamed to a point, but you cannot blame the government solely because there have been government upon government that were supposed to be proactive. In less than 10 years, 8 years ago, there was a government in power. This government cannot isolate itself from the AC net. And we all saw the AC. Nobody can sit on TV or radio and say the NDC government should not take the blame, some of the blame of what is happening. Then nani panwa bottom. Let's be factual here. So it's not TV so no cause a political commentator or cause or your den or your kasama way or your way no cause the government of the day should not take some of the blame for what we are witnessing today. Not sandy pano or your trophy on kanokre. Now what we are witnessing is it's the neglect. But for now is the NDC government in power. And nobody can go and say for Adia Esindeno NDC no power. Yanko blame NPP for Nkwasiafo. We cannot do that. The NDC government should also take the blame for what has happened. Now, Obibeka say insuna fa nipa no. Sebio, can you control insuna? You cannot control insuna, especially insua etoy no. Ye sa magnitude of insua etoy ni bida in a very long time. But the issue is if we have been proactive for a long time anka the impact insua way flood way ye no anka ye nyane sa ebi anka nipa bi ehobeka nanso anka ye nipa dodo say do hobeka. So let's be realistic. Now, we are always blaming government. We are always saying, me will videos, 1 or 2, 3 videos. Now, maybe any other people be omokoya den, omoko interview omo. Abain, besha me dem usionina, me dem nyoma say, and then abain be. The question here is, abain they not tell you to go and rent where you rented. We need to be responsible as a people. Because one, what we need from the government is to make sure say trash some of the reasons in here flood way by then the system needs to also help us. The system needs to provide dustbins all over the place. So about brochia Abani provided their bins. Abani that's what Abani is to make sure sa ball and their good bins in no then ye ball and the court. Abani has to make sure say gutters kwampa gutters drainage papa in your film. Abani's responsibility to make sure say gutters gutters here to me team nipa bi to me NC gutter no with their own wall. The government or the system also has a major role to play. But you see, when issues like this happen, now you're trying them, you're trying fee, you're trying TV so now you create impression be say Abani no fault totally now you're Jimmy because this is the situation. In so we are FIA. Say Abain at the dustbins, Abesi Ghana. We have seen people they have deliberately decided not to take bins from the government because they will pay for their trash to be taken away. And no, is it the fault of the government? No. And it does not matter the government in power. It can be NPP, can be NDC, can be CPP, but yeah, the ball aba, obitimantem, or say ball GB. Then we allow the person to go scot-free. The question here is Sani Pana wanje ball adiano, and he not the ball agu. So baller. Taking bins, it should be mandatory. As far as danya, sebio obidia renti obi ana obia si ani patimuno, a bin has to be a constant thing. Ultiminka say, me will feel ho. Abain is supplying trash bins. The government, they have to give you the bin. If you refuse to take the bin, you have to face the law because obola no beguhi. That is the question. But this is a situation where the system no, it decided to provide the baller in our Ghana. Are we willing to take the baller? There are so many people living in Ghana, how many bins? And there are also people in Ghana, bins near their bano, no maberia, no makoton. So our attitude is also something that we have to do what? We have to also look. Because Usha de sin na de bia me ka kire Ghana for say the way sin ebe say sibiem. Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and make it look like, say, I need to protect anybody. I'm not here to protect anybody. Because the one now for you so I say I'm dying. I say a few months ago or a few weeks ago, maybe I catch the Ghana for say. Sir, a year bola ya yet obian peso bekasa. In so the area, baby, I will expect to say so the bebano a hone beba. And you see, na de bia yeka so mo de omo te slums oh we mu de baby omo te hiafo na te wo we mu de baby omo te no what to say baby hiafo te no inso no ko ho the water found its way to places and now we expect to say so ko ho. Why? Because we all fail to speak. Yet mantem na obi aba na o sidan e wo insuom ohene wo ho state man te ho eya opinion leaders te ho we allow the person to build. Yet krom now, for we can see clearly. Say, as you may see a project way, this project is going to cause a lot of problems. You don't expect the president to come to Latobi Okoshi, the president to come to Chado and come and fight. Let me tell you, whether you like it or not, the people who are supposed to make sure these things work, and Mamika we've been checking Ghana for all over the world, civil servants, some of them are the most corrupt people in the world. And sometimes you need to understand, say, so obiti lands commission, obiti forestry commission, whatever, planning and then they don't fucking care. Or no, or to say robot. Say obikas when you so ha, obema nipa permit, obejisika, obema permit. Now what about your people, you the people living in the community? Because we should make it difficult for people to be able to build in places they are not supposed to build. Sometimes we need to use our common sense. It is a civil servant to be lands commission or to towns and planning or to municipal assembly. Now say or granted documentation, sir. So depending on document now, we in a community should be able to stop the person and say, no, we don't care where you got the documentation from. But as we live here, you say higher waterway. And we the people here, so we're blocking so yeah. So we need to be people who basically fight these things. Well, you cannot change a civil servant. There will be a Water Land Commission for years. Water MMC said they know they are taking money, they don't care. It is a better Ghana. Not the piano, ya bought a bicycle, NPP are binding, my idea, almost the Pajisika, and dear, it's right. They did it. They are careless, they are stupid, they chop the money. But what about us? Because we need to find a way to protect ourselves. We in a community, the honest truth is nobody should build about 1,000 meters from Wager Dam. And then Wager Dam. We are not supposed to see any house that is even 1,000 meters away from Wager Dam. No. Dam, from the dam, there are the edges of the dam, and also the banks, about 1,000 meters. And these are things we need to admit. Sa Wager Dam maybe 1,500 meters from the dam. No matter what, they are going to get flooded. So as a nation, it is always not about we staying at home. Yanyoma say and the president Yanyoma say no. What is said the party to be Yanyoma say no. It is you. But you were sitting in the neighborhood. You saw people throw trash there. What ya wajib dustbin? Uneba any dustbin. Now you think so uneba no ball and no kogu. Ojen say uneba no ball na onibino or the ball and kogu. Where do they take their trash? They are going to throw it in that gutter. How many begu ball in him? How many begu gutter him? How many begu area? In so many area. What Dana told $1.2 million? No, ne Dana wasting 30,000. A begu Dana togu. Are you going to blame the president? You cannot blame the president because you refuse to do your civic duty. There are things that we as citizens, we deserve it too. Here, my videos. Look at this. This is during the flood. Then you sit there and you are blaming the president. Oh, but damn. You need to understand what the government is doing is what they are doing. They are supporting. Sometimes we are not going to, or say honest, we cannot isolate the government. Whether NDC or MPP or KKK, we cannot isolate the government. The state needs to do its part. And the part of the state is to provide the bins. The part of the state is to make sure gutters, basically good drainages are built. The part of the state is to make sure the system is structured that we cannot abuse it. Because you see, Debia Mekano has said, our system has been built in such a way it entices us to commit crime. It entices us to do things we are not supposed to do. Because when you live in a neighborhood, now say gata dahoni and kataswa, the probability of somebody who doesn't have a bin throwing their trash in there is high. You cannot stop it because they are enticed. They are forced to do it because they see water running. They see the water going. It's night. They'll drop it in. So The state needs to be blamed. Whether NDC or NPP, I don't fucking care. But we as a people, what are we doing to force the states to do what we want? Because Ejapadiano say, it is us. Ejapadiano Esbugua, it is us. Yani eti Ghana tenkran teti nkrobe breswa insuo yiri. 90% of yani ayeti nsuom yenim se nsuom ne yeti. We know. Now look at here video CB. Look at.
No ni na na efe eji dai ni timo di no ni bia ni won ne ma bi di nche loka wo gbodo enu jomli. No ni di enyo ka wanye beji ba here. Ka wonu pure water. Wanwe wa foshi. Wayeni wanwe wa foshi. Fe eboto enu jo amli. Ni kenti numbodne keke e wo fe ka bala pese na. Nya wana wole ake. Blame ku pese na. Aba he olo e bi ene. Abatoka si mene ebele na kendo ahelo atoka etu me anitu mohe kaji odemocracy na no kwa be kwa nitu mo wulu ya jeme na keno okwa dro nitu mo wuji ya jeme kaji bo obele shapo ni me ka dai wonu domli ne baboti o shapo amie ane ba ngo na lo o ba tanye fai ene me je ni nisa aka enyene ya no ni never ne ayang eko eja ka insho aye awole no fino ni botu amliye na ko ese eba no wono ni nyana ne eba eko ni yado fe sani ajala boma doctor botu ejala dete kotokumi ke laboma kotokumi na ka lo ba bia ke me bia ba lo ni leta ko fo se no me kuma ni tumo he ye bia ne wo ba tanye fai ye me ni ye yo hia o se amli ni wo fi on ke ni ne de no papa fe money o ba kwanye fai la boma ke ada biti se ni obi ene ame fe ke pono biti ame fa me tanye fai akenye to bediano ni ne ke ni no ne ese afo ni la boma ye ne aba ni ke je ba se bi osi ye abaku ko odomo besi ano e ba abaku se bi osi ni fe la boma normally ni fe be ba bu ani no na ne fe voilà son.
You see? Bola son. Minke, boy, young man, okay? Bola son. But you are asking yourself, bola different, it is from you. Who are you blaming? Around the day, who are you blaming? Now, Jamaica, hey, Yantia, President, Yantia, and I'm saying, oh, but damn, it is you. You are the cause of it. A Krobia Nipa Omudiso Ekano Kreno. Nobody should live around any drainage, any big how do they call it? How do you guys call it? How do you guys call that? Like, no, in any serious country, nobody should live close to any storm drain or whatever you want to call it. Now the issue here is sa bola ya akogu apunim na efri hin bae. Time ani eka bola wansem ye can say we need to act. Ye can say sibia yesisi than the planning of the city is wrong. Nipa na oti MDDC office say MCE office say land commissioner and I say planning and fan who the moment obivema nisikano obe science here. Now what about you people who live in the neighborhood? You the people are mutin neighborhood in what do you do? Oh, where they say family home or the ball egum ball and kwa besaba na ball and togo. The baller is in the neighborhood. Every chadwa ebeba dance man, every dance man, ebeko lashibi, every lashibia, ebefanungwa. That is how it works. And we are not fully taking the blame. The government too needs to take the blame because the system, the state needs to also work, do its part. Now, continuously or consistently, let's take it from the back. A dear partner Abain aye, because if Abain starts to do something, and one day Abain